Right, good evening everybody. We haven't got a mic, so I just have to project. So we're all going to stand up, we're going to do some stretches to start. Oh no, yeah. Wrong place, wrong time. So good evening, welcome to Alton Hall Hotel. I hope promises to be a great night. It's our very own Make Extra Timers party. Oh, sorry, it's not a party, and if anybody asks you, you were never here, okay? Okay. So,
where's the cake?
Let's just call it, well there's lots of cake outside, let's just call it our first ever social event, and hopefully the first of many social events where we can get together and get to know each other. It is truly great to see you all here tonight. Sorry about Monday, I'll update you with that very briefly. It's nice to see you in different clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I didn't realise that you all had a different wardrobe, really. And I presume, just to be on the safe side, we are all wearing shin pads tonight, aren't we? No. Oh shit! Hold on. So to take mine off. Well, tonight we'll let those rules go, but no shin pads tonight. Then that's fine. Tonight's running order, just to go through it.
Walking order.
We're sharp tonight. Tonight's walking order, and we're already behind time. But we had a little bit of a technical problem. So obviously you've all arrived. That's good. Hello, Bill.
Hi there.
Are you all right? I'm Mrs. Bill.
Hi.
Hello. You just have to try and find. There's a couple down here. Down here.
We like to be at the back.
You can heckle from there. Okay. So welcome. What we're going to do is going to kick off, as we know, football pun there, with the screening of two films. One is which Raza has produced and is fully responsible for. The first one we're going to watch is called Espresso Yourself, and the second one, which he's just actually shocked me with, is called Low Punches. And the shock that he's just given me is that tonight, and you have a big ooh after this, right? Tonight is the world premiere of this particular film. Ooh. Right. So you're the first 40 people in the world to see this film. So hopefully you'll enjoy it and you'll be able to provide Raza with some feedback, hopefully positively. So we're going to see the films. If there are any questions and answers, questions that you've got for Raza about films, his life in film, and exactly what he does, then please, we're going to have, if there are questions, we'll have questions and answers. If there aren't, then it'll be straight outside for some refreshments. And then we're going to have a few words from Howard Foreman, who's the chair of the trustees, the chairman of the trustees of Maycare. We're going to have a bit of a musical interlude. And then we're going to have another film that Raza has put together to do with all the goals. I think you've called it Goals Galore, have you? Yeah. Goals Galore. Which means I won't be on it. And then we're just going to present our awards, and then you can all go home happy, hopefully. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Obviously, my thought process when coming up with tonight was to look at trying to celebrate the talents of individuals within Maycare Extra Timers. Raza being one exceptional individual. And we're going to look at his work, and then we're going to have a musical interlude. It's going to be presented, and you're going to see Stanley Glucksman, who has been with the group for a few months, and we're going to listen to his musical talents there. And it's just, you know, we've been together for sort of 2 years, and even so, we don't necessarily know everything about everybody. So it's an opportunity to learn about two of the friends that you've made in the football group. So moving on to Raza, obviously when you're trying to find information about an individual to do an introduction, there's only one place to go, and that's Google. And I've just told Raza some things about himself that even he didn't know. So, but just to give you a brief bio of him, So first of all, it's fair to say that tonight's production is very much a joint production between Extra Timers and Talking Lens Production, which is his company, his business, his life, his world. He is an award-winning writer, he's a director, he's a producer, and he's responsible for development and training at Talking Lens Productions, which is based in Leeds. My favourite fact about him was that he speaks umpteen languages, so which is, you know, incredible. So he speaks, obviously, English. He speaks fluent in Danish, Urdu, Punjabi, Hindi, and has a working knowledge of Swedish and Norwegian. So if anybody feels like they want to converse him and ask him questions in those languages, then please feel free. So I think without making your head any bigger, just hand over to Raza to introduce the films, and enjoy, everybody.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, David. So lovely to see you all here. Thank you so much for turning out today. Some of that stuff I didn't know even existed. I forgot about it. You must have found an old site. But anyway, my two biggest loves are football and movies, so that's
Perfect.
oh yes.
You need to edit that.
Serena, my wife there,
She's recording it.
yeah, she's a wonderful support. So we'll kick off with Espresso Yourself, which I think Jerry's seen that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You've seen that because it was screened at the Leeds Nights Festival. So I'll just play them and see what you think. Thank you.
I have to say, this is a bit like, to me, it's a bit like the PFA, you know, the Professional Footballers Association award dinner, honed in with the Brit Awards and the Oscars all together that have come together. It's sort of like the highlight of my life, but I'm here with, you know, with such esteemed people. I mean, Raza, who I'm not here. Oh, he's now there.
Phil, I've got to do my other job, haven't I?
You know, obviously, seriously, two fantastic films. Certainly Oscar nominations, and you know, in that way, we're going to hear Stanley Glucksman, and certainly should be in the Brit Awards, I'm sure, next week on ITV. And but the basic thing is, I just wanted to then just say thank you, and the first thank you really is to the Maycare Walking Football people yourselves, because there wouldn't be any walking football. Tony, if you were playing, there wouldn't be any walking football. But there wouldn't be any walking football without yourselves. And I think it's important to say that, because it is important. It's not only about the walking football. It's not only about visiting the hospital once or twice a week. It's not only about other such things. It's really all about sort of being friends, being together, meeting people that you haven't seen for 60 years, and other people that you haven't seen at all. But it really makes up a fantastic sort of you know, grouping. I mean, I don't know what number we are in total.
56.
So we're 56 people, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, as David alluded to, the walking football came from a grant from an organisation called Time to Shine, which Maycare had put in for the grant for. And part of the Time to Shine, which is funded by the National Lottery, which comes under the Old People's Forum. The only thing about the Old People's Forum is it's for people aged 50 or over, which slightly, I don't know why it's called the Old People's Forum, but in any case. So Time to Shine came from there. Maycare took up the mantle of the walking football, and David became involved with it. So one thank you is to you. The next thank you is to David, because he's done fantastic work. we think he's done such fantastic work that we are going to double his salary at the next trustee meeting. There is talk of tripling it, but we can do that because he's not paid anything. So we'll base it, you know, on that way. But without David, and I really, if I think back, if I think what you came with, the idea, you know, and got involved with 2 years ago, and asked you basically, you know, would it be like this in 2 years' time? I'm sure it was as far from your mind as absolutely possible. So, I mean, it grew up with the grant, and basically now it's become self-financing in its own right. So, you know, some of these activities, and you know, we get grants for, etc. They're for a term, they finish, and basically that's the end of the activity. This is a prime example that we are passing back to Time to Shine and through the National Lottery, that here we have something that is not only they set up and funded to start off with, but also will continue, hopefully fruitfully, you know, in that respect. As I say, it might be taken over by the National Health Service, you know, with a number of people that tend to be going. But we do accept people with four fingers. You don't have to have 5, especially when Tony's been around, and Andy and a few other people. So it's a thank you to David. And behind every great man, there is an even greater woman. So I just want to thank Jane, who did all the catering and probably puts up with David sort of 25 hours a day with the I know on my phone, you know, you can tell there's something to do with walking football, because somebody says something and about 3 seconds later, ping, 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 so ping, 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 and you know that's something to do with walking football. But usually it's very good banter, I see. Usually, occasionally it may a yellow card is sometimes needed, but it's fantastic that again through the WhatsApp group, and it's lovely to see, you know, David in video, you know, with his smile and everything else that goes with it. So again, thank you to Jane. A couple of other thank yous. One should be to Alton Hall and Geraldine. We wouldn't be here without their support. They are available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, golden weddings, anything that you can, and they are only too glad to take you through a small room to the larger rooms if you're fancying, and if you're thinking of getting remarried or things like that, then there's absolutely no problem. As again, Raza alluded to, we can arrange you know, the function to suit you.
Checks in the post, Howard.
No problem. So I just wanted to say that as well. So the other thing, just one final thing before I sit down, is that, you know, we can't do all these things without funding, and we do get funding from the council, we do get funding from other organisations, etc. But one thing that we have set up, and I'm just asking you to consider, and that's why David very kindly put these wonderful lottery leaflets. So the basic thing is, it is £1 a week generally it is. It's that you can do it by direct debit. There are fantastic prizes. Normally you sort of say fantastic prize and there's, you know, £15, you know, if you win. But there is actually a prize of £25,000. So it's not only about winning, it's also about helping Maycare in that way. And I again ask you just to think, and hopefully you would consider doing a direct debit for, you know, £4. It's not actually it's £4.16 or something like that because of the thing, but it's just over £4 a month, and that really, if you did, that really would be appreciated by everybody who participates in Maycare. I mean, it's not only this is only one of the activities that Maycare does. I was today at something called Sporting Memories, and they're basically people with onset dementia, and we do a programme at All Woodley Cricket Club once every couple of weeks, and we talk about sort of sports things because are interested in sports, and we do a sort of programme talking about sports, etc., etc. Do a quiz. I'll give you one quiz question, right? In a comic of maybe during your time, there was a footballer called Roy Racer. Do you know what his nickname was? Roy Racer. Shows you, I think. Would you like to come to the dementia thing? Would you, if you are invited?
We're all too young.
Yeah. Nobody know who Roy Racer was? Roy the Rovers. And the other question part of it was, which team did he play for? Melchester Rovers. So yeah, that's brilliant. Well done. You have to get it right. So just to put out, there are different activities that we do, and your support maybe through the lottery would truly help. So I thank you, and thank you for the time.
Okay, so we're going to come on to just celebrating the talents of another extra timer, Stanley Glucksman. Stanley unfortunately can't be here tonight because his health is not the best it could be at the moment. A bit about Stanley, and it's interesting that both Raza and Stanley, I don't know if it's the month of April, but they joined in April 21, and we're featuring them both here tonight. Stanley, 3.5 years ago, was diagnosed with terminal kidney cancer. He's now stage 4 in that area. And but he's a very passionate, very positive individual. And the more you know him, the more you love him, really. One of his passions, apart from playing football, is singing. One of his things on his bucket list is singing. And one of his dreams on that bucket list was to be able to sing at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, home of the Beatles. So really, it's just about celebrating 2 songs, really. The first one is one which he wrote personally. It's all his own work. And the second one that you'll hear will just hopefully help you put a smile on your face. So Stanley, what I found when I was asking you for sort of nominations and things was that obviously we've got a group now of 56 people. Some of those people have the opportunity to come to both Mondays and Thursdays. Some come just to Mondays, some come to Thursdays. So if you only ever come to Thursday, you only ever know that group perhaps that you're with. And in a way, the votes reflected that, which is fine. And I've tried to reflect that in some of the awards, really. I'm not supposed to be funny, so please don't take me to heart, really. We'll start with the first award. He has taken a great deal of aggravation at most sessions, basically because he runs a lot. But it gives a great pleasure to award the first award of the evening. The award is in recognition of being the best runner at walking football. And it's a great pleasure to ask my dear friend Anthony to come and help Alright, we'll make this quick as there you go, Anthony. Go. Fantastic award. Go back there. Okay, we'll do the best thing. Further. Right, thank you. We can have a sit.
I'm going to let you think again.
So, some of the awards, again, people aren't here. There are a few people who are struggling with COVID. There are a couple. I think today was Barry who has gone down with COVID. Yeah. So he sent his apologies. And there's one or two like that just ills that keeping people away for one reason or another. But nonetheless, on a Thursday, I think he's only moving to Thursdays, and he'll get this tomorrow when he turns up, but this is the award for the best goalkeeper. And this was really based on one save that I saw him make. Well, they made a lot of saves last week, but one save that I saw him make when we were playing at the YMCA on the 3G surface. It was a very Gordon Banks-esque save, which he somehow scooped the ball down from the bottom right and I don't know how he did it. So this award is best goalkeeper is Mervyn Littman.
Yeah, maybe.
We introduced a rule. We introduced quite lots of local rules, really. Walking, non-contact shin pads, and all those things. And we also talked about not kicking the ball with undue force. And sometimes if it is too hard, which is not necessarily a footballing thing, it's just something we're trying to do to protect our fingers and shins and other soft tissue, really. But nonetheless, on there, we saw some fantastic goals. And there was one that we saw quite a few times actually, which was good because it was a cracking goal. So this award the award is in recognition of having the strongest boots. Okay, and also the winner of the recipient of this prize also won our Goal of the Month competition, aided and abetted by a little free kick that Jackie just laid for him. And it's a great pleasure to award the strongest boot to Ian Walker.
Most of what was on there was my left foot.
What's it usually right?
That's
Number
the
19.
beautiful.
There was going to be an award in for the person that asked the only question at announcement time when we get together, but you know, I think
Left that one.
it's more out.
I'll ask you tomorrow why you didn't do it.
Yeah. Okay, so the first lady, first prize for a lady, this one is the most shots with your left foot without scoring. And it's a very unique presentation, but it's I'm happy to say it goes to Geraldine. What you said with scoring. So as I say, Barry Michelson can't be here this evening. Barry is a lovely guy, and he puffs a lot, which makes me worry sometimes when we're playing football. But he always has a smile on his face, and he's a great character. And you know, I think as I said there on the field that you know may be with us and play for a long time because he's a great guy. So the only award I could really come up with for Barry was in recognition of being our senior player. Okay, Barry is he's our longest term senior player. We have got one guy that's older, but he's newer to the group. So I'm giving the senior player award to Barry. Barry, I think he's 70. Anyway, yeah, and he's great. And as I say, so when he's fit and well and he's COVID free, then Barry will get that award. Phil, right? So Phil was talking. It was his piece to camera, and we saw some goals while Phil was talking. And one of them was outdoors when we played at Stonegate Road. We played at Stonegate Road when we were first allowed back. Walking football was the first sport allowed back to play together. And when we came back in July of 5th of July 20. And at first when we came back, we couldn't actually be together. We had to sort of all play in boxes and zones, and it was sort of football-y sort of games. But then we started playing, and if you remember, we used to do 2 sessions, again to keep you all apart, keep you all well. So we did was it a 5 till 6 session, or 5 till, and then we did a 6 till 7. And I can't remember which group this was in, but it was a cracking goal, and it was shown on there. Unfortunately, and somebody said it was from here, it was an own goal. Okay. But it was the best goal that she's probably scored. So in recognition of the best own goal ever, Jan, you'd like to come forward. I think you actually went to celebrate and then you realised. already been mentioned this evening, and by Howard. And she does put up with an awful lot, does my good lady. She put up with an awful lot about some years ago when I ran a girls' football club. I remember the day when I finally passed all the equipment over to somebody else, and the house, it seemed like we had a much bigger house because all the gear went out. Now the gear's all back in again, whether it's goals or whether it's all the bibs on the radiators trying to dry in time for the next session, or whatever it is, paperwork. But I must say, apart from being a lovely wife, I do love her dearly. I had to give Jane some recognition, so otherwise I'd be in trouble. She wins in recognition of being the most patient wife in the world ever. Thanks, Jane. Just keep me busy. Yeah, I miss you. Well, I bet that doesn't go on your wall in the office there, will it? Okay, so another person sadly was coming. There were quite a few people that were coming and then say I've had to cancel. That includes Mervyn, that includes Michael Master on a Thursday. This guy, I love this guy because when we went through the phase of me putting up people's birthdays on the WhatsApp group, and happy birthday so-and-so, happy birthday so-and-so, this guy was very innovative in that he always found a song with your name in it. And I think he found a song for everybody. And I think somebody else joined in trying to find a song. So, and he's been a 2-day-a-week person, and when we were doing 3 days a week, he was 3 day a week. He's a sort of gentle giant. So in recognition of being the calmest player under pressure, because when I actually watch him play, it's like he always seems to find a pass. And I do watch him because sometimes when he's not playing, he will go and sort of sit by himself. And I think, ooh. But then when he plays, he just finds a pass. Then he hasn't scored for a long time, and suddenly he's scored a couple of goals. But he's very calm under pressure. So this, again, you'll get this tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. So it's for Mark Rutherford in recognition of being the calmest player under pressure. Okay. So this is now the first recipient of a second award. Okay. I don't know when I ended up having the opportunity to play on the opposition team, but this lady won't leave me alone when it comes to marking me, okay? And wherever I go, if I'm over here, she's here. If I'm over here, she's here. I look behind. In fact, I found her in a bathroom once. It was but she's excellent at what she does, and the fact she frustrates me means that she's doing a really good job. I've been honest there, so she'll do it even more when we start playing again. But you've got to work hard to get away from her, and in a way, because once you've got the ball and you're stationary, it's about everybody else moving, but she's able to stop you moving or forces you out of position, and she does a really good job, so which is what it's all about. So I'd like to give the, in recognition, not the stalker, here, but in recognition of the best marker of an opponent, it goes to Jan Levy. Is what? Oh, it's a guy came along to walking football. He settled in really quickly. He's loved by everybody. He's a bloody good player, and plays mainly within the rules. But it doesn't always like my refereeing decisions, but we're only human, and I'm sorry about that. Or maybe you're sorry for me, I don't know, for giving a little bit of back chat, but that's just the game. But he plays from the minute the whistle goes, to the minute the game ends. He organises people, he pays attention to all the players on the pitch, he's helpful to everybody that he plays with, because by doing that, he helps his team to win, and he scores some cracking goals as well. And I felt that just because it was appropriate to award this certificate for the most energetic player, just because he just moves all the time, as I say, he never seems to be puffed, he never seems to be, sweating or anything. So, and he's a great all-round guy. So I'm going to surprise him and say, Phil Dalton, come on down. Time for another lady to win something. It's, if I dare say, it's not all about winning. Okay, that's fine. But it's about playing the game, and the fun, the fitness, and the friendship. And I think that the ladies do help to sort of lift the mood, particularly on a Monday. And they're not too serious, and they help us not to be too serious. For the men to be too serious as well. And I hope, therefore, that this preamble will mean that when I tell her this award, she will take it in good spirit. So, I've known this lady actually probably as near as damn it all my life. Okay, she used to live 5 doors away from me when we were growing up. I remember being playing in a box that was a fridge came in, so we go back a long way. We were kids. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that we're playing either. And also, I've looked after her daughter when she played football for me as well. And so, despite all of that, she still has one problem, which is why she's got this certificate. And she'll know why, because this is for scoring the most goals with your toe end. Right? And I'm happy to say it goes to Philippa Hyman. At least you scored. We're hearing about Mark Rutherford being calmest player under pressure, which is good, but it's also important that even if you feel under pressure, that you can pass the ball and you can find your teammates, because I think somebody has sort of likened the game a little bit, to netball, which is that, as I understand it, when you have the ball, it's everybody else that moves. But you've still got to be able to find the person and get your head up and get the pass to them. The more passes you do, the more chance there is of scoring, whether it's one touch, 3 touch, however many touches. It's important to be able to get the ball to your teammates. And so this award, in recognition of being the greatest passer of the ball, okay, goes to Peter Lisowich. The greatest passer ball with gammy knees. So, the next award is actually a joint award, and it was sort of demonstrated there again with Randall's great film. There's lots of shots, there's lots of goals, but there's also lots of misses. We have some people here who miss more often than and we'll just leave it at that. Just go straight to the award. So the joint award for the most attempts at goal without scoring, there is, I'm happy to say, goes to Chris Jones and Adrian Childers. They're shooting attempt. Next side, we'll have
On either side.
There we go. There you go. Obviously, in times of adversity, it's important to stay cheerful. When you're winning, it's easy to stay cheerful. When you're losing, it's a little bit more difficult to stay cheerful. and when things don't go exactly right, as was demonstrated earlier tonight, it's quite easy to lose your cool and just sort of self-implode. But tonight it's proven that this is the right award, and this is for the most cheerful player, the person that's got a smile on the face, and even in times when things are wrong, they can still smile and have a bit of a laugh. And so it gives me great pleasure to give the recognition of being the most cheerful player to Raza. You've worked hard for it. And therefore, you have to have an enthusiasm to play football. You have to have an enthusiasm to go out and meet your other extra timers. And just generally exude the fact that you like doing what you're doing, but also to be able to tell perhaps your team that hey, I am here, please involve me, because I want to demonstrate my enthusiasm. Sometimes the enthusiasm for this particular individual can be a little bit too enthusiastic, which often results in free kicks and the ball being shot all over the place. Hasn't yet ended in a sin bin situation, but it's early days yet. So this particular very enthusiastic and lovely all-round person, I'm happy to give in recognition of being the most enthusiastic player to Marcia Layton. As already been mentioned by Howard, the group started just over 2 years ago. I started in July of 2019, yeah. And how I came to it was there was a small article in one of the freebies that comes through the door, and the local councillor had just put this one line at the end of his item about if you're interested in playing walking football, make care, etc., come along. And so I went along. It was being run by Leeds United, so I still went along. And there was a group there, and then I went along the next week and I took Jane back. But I realised that they were only offering like these 3 taster sessions, and it was going to come to an end, and that's why, having been involved in football before, I sort of went to Maycare. But due to change of personnel at Maycare, it just took a while to get the thing up and running, and we didn't start till December 2019. But I looked, funny enough today, I looked at the list. When I approached Maycare to say I wanted to sort of take it on, I said, I know that there was a group that went to these sessions, and can you please give me a list of those people, and I can contact them. And the original list was 10 names, not including myself. There were 10 names on that list. And since that time, we've grown that since we've been running, I've been running extra timers, we've actually had 88 different people come through the door. I've had 88 applications. Some that have come and stayed, some that have come and found it's not right for them because walking doesn't work for them, they want to play 5-a-side or whatever. But we've had 88 applications. We currently have 56 registered players who still want to play. But taking all those numbers apart, going back to July of 2019, out of those 10 people, there are 3 of those people in this room tonight. Okay, and so 3 people are going to get our longest serving player award. Okay, and it's great because they're all lovely people. You're all lovely people, but so the 3 people to get the longest serving player award: Jerry Anstis, Adrian Gilbert, there you go, and there you go, and there you go. Brilliant. This award really is, I've given this for my perception of the most improved player. Okay, as I say, we've had a lot of people come through, and there is no qualification for playing walking football. Whether you've played football before at the highest level, or you've never played at all, and you just want to, somebody wants to get involved. And this guy came along, so it's a guy, he has played. Every game has been on a Thursday, bar one. He came on one Monday. He has struggled to even get there at times, just due to transporting issues, and yet since he's joined the group, he's actually found, pardon the pun, but he's found his feet. He's grown stronger and stronger from basically just hanging around at the back or on the edges of the pitch, and being a bit self-conscious. He's come through that and participates more and more, and it's great when he's within your team because he has enthusiasm, and I think it was it last week, or maybe it was the Thursday before, he actually scored his first goal, which was great. He's a West Ham United supporter. You can take that as you will. But he has grown in stature, and I think he's absolutely deserving of the Most Improved Player award. And although he's not here tonight, it goes to Michael Husband. So, just before we come to the top prizes, we're just going to have a slightly short interlude because I know Philip Solity, would like to just have a few words. As you know, that we're trying to boost the professionalism of what we offer, and in a number of areas. And the first area that we've tried to work on is refereeing, and a group of people have gone through the refereeing course. Some are still going through it, and hopefully they will also qualify. We have tried, and we will be looking at sort of first aid, people who want to get involved in first aid, etc. Again, just so we can all be more helpful if things go wrong. But to stop things going wrong on the pitch, to stop Anthony running, then refereeing has been the first order of the day. So if we just ask Philip to come up and say a few words, and then we'll just return to the awards.
Thank you, David. Hello, everyone. I believe that Alan Sugar was asked to undertake this process, so we came down to have a look at all those participating to see who was able to be a referee, or could be a referee. And then he found everybody was walking and said, that's not for me. I want people who work and sweat, and that's not what you get from walking. So he sacked everyone, and I was left to do the job. So I don't mind that, because I enjoy either playing walking football or refereeing it. And so when it came to actually getting involved in the process, I was only too happy to do it. Fortunately, David found premises, the Maycare premises, to do it, and we started with 9, of whom 5 have actually succeeded in getting club status, as it were. So we're able to do club games and referee them. So if I'm able to say that the certificate for those 5 should be in the post and will be received on either Saturday or Monday. So watch out in the post. And in the meantime, if I call people in front, I've got something for them, because you've got to have some blue or red cards. Now, they are quite big, but it's so everybody can see it with the referee, that they know what's happening. One or two people may have to get trousers or shorts with bigger pockets, because obviously these won't go in. Will they, Deborah? Alright, so let's take the ladies first. If you'd like to come out, Deborah, and receive your cards. Deborah did very well because I think she was a little bit nervous at the start, weren't you? Yeah. But as time went on, you developed and you're quite happy with your whistle. And you keep it with you at all times.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you keep those as well. Well, no. Geraldine. Geraldine. You're sitting there. Oh, yeah. Now, Geraldine's a person who has no qualms about losing the whistle and getting stuck in, if I can use that expression. And I'm sure she'll do very well. So, here is your cards to put with your whistle. So, well done. Big pleasure. And that leaves, is it Philip Cole? Somewhere? Good boy. Now, Philip didn't take long to actually get into it. He was very keen and enthusiastic. But I'm just going to tell you the story, and I think he knows what might be coming. Because when he refereed a game, they had so many articles of clothing on, that he was sweating. And he decided to take his bib off while the game was in play. But he didn't have a clue what was going on. So it was advised accordingly. All right. So, well done. We haven't finished yet because we move to the experience game, I'll put it that way. Colin. Now, it's right to say that Colin and I go back a long way as far as tuition and mentoring. Because when he wanted to be a referee in open age football, going back, how many years is that?
20 something.
Yeah, and who did it? Me. And now you're doing the walking football, and well, I got involved, but you made it without any hassle whatsoever. So, and you have a very calm way of dealing with things, which is what referees should do. That's from all your experience. So well done. So, make use of those.
Thank you. My God.
Well done. David. Well done. Worry about you know, succeeding and getting your certificate. But we too go back a long way because you used to play cricket, didn't you? So that's something you did. And there is I'm told there's got to be a walk-in cricket as well. So, quite interesting, but no, stick to this, you're far better at this. So, keep up the good work. And, well done. Just before, I always like to finish on a note. As people may or may not know, I've been involved in the law for a long time, and I always like to say something about that. As you're probably aware, that on the 29th of January, the Highway Code came into effect. So when you go home tonight, and you're going to your driveway, make sure when you leave the vehicle, you use your left hand, and you take it to the door handle, and you open it and look and see if any bicycle, any cyclist is riding past you at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you've got a passenger, you can get the passenger to do it with their right hand. So, see if there's any cyclists coming. Of course, it's all very silly, but at the end of the day, it's what's called double reach, or Dutch reach. So if you've got Dutch at one side and Dutch at the other, to me, it's a load of double.
Philip, can I just say, just a big thank you from everybody at Maycare, just a little something to say. Thank you very much for all the time you devoted in mentoring. Right, so we come to the final part of the evening, really, the top awards. So there were 2 awards which were out of my control, and which I asked you to vote for, which you did. I'd just like to say this award is for the most inclusive team player. And I'd just like to say, first of all, thank you for everybody that sort of voted for me. For those people who voted for me, I asked you to put that vote somewhere else, which you did. And we've got, if I tell you that there were 21 different nominations for this award. It's like, well, what did I think? It was Marcia that when I put that out said, well, what do you mean by inclusive team player? It wasn't necessarily the best player, it wasn't definitely the worst player, it was just somebody that maybe just had a quiet word with you, almost put their arm metaphorically around you to sort of provide some help, some guidance, just made you feel a bit more friendly, more part of the group, and
Passes the ball.
passes the ball, yeah.
No.
And, but it also sort of came down to the fact that, again, there were votes, I said earlier, from the Thursday group, for Thursday people, and groups on the Monday for Monday people, and votes for both. So, in the end, I took great advice and great guidance from a very wise person. And what she said to me was, she said to me, Jane, was that I couldn't sort of, there wasn't a winner, there wasn't an outright winner. There were 4 people out of 21 that scored exactly the same score. Okay, so there are 4 winners of the most inclusive team player. There are actually 21 winners, and I actually think we're all winners, really, if that doesn't sound too silly, because we are a friendly group and we do take care of each other. And so, the first recipient of this year's Most Inclusive Team Player goes to, the drum roll, no, Geraldine Stone. So, and the second lady to win the Most Inclusive Team Player goes to Marcia Layton.
David Coe, will you be able to redact David on the picture?
Yes. And so we come to the 2 gentlemen who've been voted for, and again, I'm just pleased that actually as newer players to the group, you've sort of taken on board the fact that as well as being great footballers, you've got that possibly actually gives you the time to spend making sure that the other team players are involved and included and helped. Pass the ball, etc. It's a great pleasure to give the first male award to Bill Halligan. And the other one, without the preamble, Phil Dalton. Okay, so final 2 awards of the evening then. This is a difficult one really, because it's you never necessarily remember who comes second in the Olympic 100 metres. You never necessarily remember who was the runner-up in an FA Cup final or whatever. But to be second is a great honour, really. And this is the
the position of player's player. So again, it's voted by yourselves, and I can't remember how many nominations were for this, but there were 2 standout players, and he is a standout player, and he's a great guy, and it's just unfortunate you didn't quite get as many as the person that's going to win. But it gives me great pleasure to the player's player, runner-up, David Moore. The final award. So the final award gets the certificate and gets the coveted Make Extra Times Walking Football Players Player of the Year. What can you say about this player? I can tell you that since we've introduced the sin bin, it's got to the point now where we actually don't need a referee, because he realises when he's done enough damage, that is, and the last time marching off, all right, I'm going, I know what I've done, and that was before Colin actually sent him off, and in fact he'd only made 2, I think there were 2 offences rather than 3. This is a resounding result. He takes a lot of stick from everybody, almost entirely in good humour, and he scores a lot of goals. He's an integral part of Make Extra Timers. We started the evening with him, so it seems only fit that we end the evening with him, and it gives me great pleasure that the 2022 Players Player of the Year goes to our dear friend Anthony Sherwood. I need to see that trophy. Right, so I think we're just about caught up with time, to be honest. So finally, as befitting to all these functions, it's a bit of a list of thank yous, and things don't just happen by themselves, and Paul does quite a bit of the stuff behind the scenes, so I just want to say formally thank you, Paul. And more recently, he'll be getting knee strain and backache in a minute, but more recently, and also through time setting up Sundays and what have you, and coming straight off a night shift from working, he's still come on a Sunday morning to help set up when we have to set the goals up. You don't have to get up, Anthony, because you need to be hurting. I'd just like to give you that. Thank you. The third thank you, you may, obviously, a lot of you are friends on Facebook and therefore part of the Extra Timers group that's on Facebook. If not, if you want to look for me, David Winnick, on Facebook, just try and befriend me, and then I can add you into the FaceTime group. The reason I mention that is because a lot of the social media that we use artwork, including the symbol, the Extra Timers symbol there, including the Coffee Timers symbol that we saw tonight. A lot of that starts off in here, but it ends up with David Cole producing the goods and then spending the time with me without any charge. I hope that will continue. Happy witnesses. But David spends the time, all sorts of, day and night, tweaking my ideas, and then we come back with something which hopefully is corporate and looks right for promoting Make Extra Timers. So, as a small appreciation, I thank you. No pictures. Obviously, Raza, a true legend this evening. Apart from your own professional work, to do all that work that I know has taken a long time, you know, you said you were going to start doing it over Christmas when you had some free time. There's a lot of cuts and things that you've had to do there. Just the sort of viewing of the footage that you had to do from, you know, that you'd taken, stuff that I'd sent you, and you managed to get the goals in, and you managed to sync it with the person that was talking. It was fantastic. So really thank you for all that hard work. Again, may it continue. May you continue to come along to Mondays, and if you can get Thursdays off, but we'll think about that. It would be lovely to see you. So I'd just like to just give you a little something to say. And finally, if any got babysitters, it's going to be cost But finally, tonight obviously wouldn't have been possible without all of you. It wouldn't have been possible without me. But it wouldn't have been possible without Geraldine, because Geraldine has pulled an absolute miracle out of the bag, in that she works here and she's been able to obtain this delightful room, to obtain some of the catering, to obtain the coffees, the drinks, shall we say, at exceptionally competitive prices. And I will be booking my daughter's wedding here if it's going to be those same sort of prices. Please God, she should say she wants to get married in the first place. Okay. But anyway, obviously we'd like to thank Alton Hall and the powers that be here that you have spoke to get that the deal you have done. So thank them, the management, thank you, incredible. We'll look to book next year's, we'll do the same thing. But it's been really impressive. I hope that I haven't missed anybody. Obviously, thank you to you all supporting the group in whichever way you have done. Everyone that's helped in setting things up, you know, for coming at short notice, and have a safe journey home. I'm just going to give this to Geraldine to say thank you. So that's it. I hope you've had a very good evening. Yeah. I'm sorry it's gone a little bit longer than anticipated, but it was now a fault of the technology. Those who are playing tomorrow, look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and just keep supporting it.
Can I just say something just before we all go? Some of you, he's already alluded to it tonight, but David, about 15 years ago, taught my children to play football at Leeds Arrowverge, and I know Geraldine and there's a few others here that have done that. He's at the other end of the spectrum. He's trying to help some of us older people keep young. But he's also been on the other side. He actually taught some of our children to know what it's like to actually be part of a team, to feel part of something, and feel really emboldened and empowered by that. And I think a lot of us here, yeah, we're not all so old, but David, yet again, is but David is enabling us all again to feel a little bit emboldened, a little bit fitter, and a little bit pleased to be part of our own little community. So can we just give David a really lovely round?
There is just one piece of good news that I just heard about it. So Geraldine has very kindly, I know we're short on a Monday for the for the playing area. Geraldine has very kindly given this room. The tables will be cleared. It will be a little narrow through there. Usual time next Monday. Geraldine will be only 2 people, and there will be coffee and James remainder of the cake still there.
Head high to the chandelier. Thank you, everybody.